We are so excited to be with you today. My name is Kelly Booz. I'm the proud director of the AFT Share My Lesson. And I am with my friend, Sari Beth Rosenberg. Did I pronounce it right for the first time ever?
You did. We've been friends for so long and done so many panels and presentations, but
I screw it up every time.
It's fine. Now you're good. Now you are perfect. Practice makes perfect.
Well, we're gonna dive right in just a second. I'm gonna do a quick housekeeping video for those of you who join our Share My Lesson webinars. You know that we like to kind of set the parameters in terms of how you can engage with us within this platform. I see a lot of people are already using that attendee chat and letting us know, where you're joining us from and what AI tools you're kind of interested in learning more about. So that's fantastic. Please keep that coming. And then also, there's a little emoji thing at the bottom. I happen to love getting hearts and feedback as we're going, so feel free to use that as well. Okay, we'll be back with you in 1 minute.
Welcome to Share My Lesson webinars. Thank you for joining us. Before we begin, let's go over a few housekeeping tips. We'd love to create an interactive and engaging space. Please open the group chat widget. Tell us where you're from and why you chose this webinar today. This is also your place to interact with other participants and our presenters. Express your thoughts. Using the reactions widget, you can provide feedback about the presentation. Your feedback is invaluable to us and our presenting team. If you have questions for the presenters, use the Q&A widget to ask them. For technical support during a live session, we've got you covered. You can ask tech questions in the same widget. If your screen freezes or you lose audio, please refresh your browser. If you're in search of resources for this session, you can find them listed in the resource list widget. When the webinar concludes, please take a moment to rate and review this session. This helps Share My Lesson users find the best content and influences future webinars. You may be here for professional development credit. To qualify, watch for at least 35 minutes of the presentation and answer at least 2 poll questions. These will appear under the slide widget. At the end of the session, click on the certificate icon to download your certificate. From all of us on the AFT Share My Lesson team, thank you for joining us and enjoy the webinar.
Okay, and we are back. I do know that folks do want to get some professional development credit for joining us, which is great. I'm going to put our first poll question up, and then Sari, Beth, and I will start kind of talking through, what our plan is, why we're here, what we're doing, and all that jazz. But I'd love to, get a sense of where folks feel their comfort level is right now with using AI. So on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the most comfortable, like you're in it, you're using it, you're building with it, you've built your own, ChatBot, to 1, not comfortable at all. You can submit your response. It should be popping up within that slide there. And then if you want to go back to the attendee chat, and let us know, different ways that you've been using AI so far, and maybe you haven't, and that's fine, because guess what? My husband, I'm going to talk about him in a second. I was just showing him some tools the other day, and he's like, "Holy cow, my mind is like exploding right now." And Sari Beth had kind of a similar reaction when we got together in Austin, Texas, and that's really where this brainchild came to the two of us. So, anyway. Let's let a couple more folks get in there. And I love the emojis. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah, I hear you. There is certainly a level of fear that comes with AI and trying to understand it. And one of the things that we definitely want to do with all of these series is talk about, just because you can use the tool, or just because it's there, like, should you? And, we'll definitely be adding something on like more ethics and policy in the future. All right, let's see. Magic School, that's great. I actually, an AI, Microsoft, that's great. I actually, I was just telling Sari Beth before we started that I am in California right now, attending the ASU GSV conference, and they had, for the first time ever, I mean, really, we're only 15, 16 months into ChatGPT, turning our lives upside down. But for the first time ever, they had this AIR show, which was AI in education. I got a lot of new tips attending that, and Magic School is there as well. Okay, so let's see how people are feeling. All right, so we, yeah, I can see that we've got some folks that are comfortable, not really comfortable. So it'll be interesting to see how this gets moving in the future. All right, so I am so excited to be here with you, Sari.
Me too. We got excited about this from the start, and it's so exciting to find, like, we've been talking about this for months. Well, it feels like it's been months, but it's only been a month. We were so excited to do it that we turned this around real fast. Do you want to tell everyone our origin story, or
Yes.
So how did this all get started?
So let's go to the background. So Sari Beth and I, whoops, not that one. Let's go to this. We'll come back to the boot one in a second. Sari Beth and I were on a panel at South by Southwest EDU. Was it last month in March? And it was on a very serious topic. Actually, we're smiling here, but we were talking about gun violence prevention, and really our educators are at the front line of gun violence. And you know, we can talk more about that later, and I can share a blog about some of the work that we've done there. But it was later in that evening that the two of us went to, where did we go? I don't even know. I don't remember.
Somewhere in Austin with live music. Our friend Kiki from the panel, he's from Columbine High School, Columbine survivor. And he'd been in Austin for days before we arrived. So we were like, Kiki, tell us where to go. So we landed at some place with great live music, which basically was pretty vague for Austin. That's like every place. Maybe it's called the Continental. Might have been called the Continental. If anyone knows that, let us know in the chat. Anyone from Texas know the Continental. Anyway, we were there, and most people were there for the music, and we were, until, well, we just started nerding out as per usual. And so what were we nerding out about, Kelly?
Yeah, so I started talking to Sari about, like, you know, I had gone to this other conference, not an education related conference, in February, and I was learning all about AI, and I was just seeing so much potential of different things of how it can really make a difference, you know, for teachers. You know, for example, I showed my husband, he's a 12th grade English teacher. This is a picture of him, a live picture of him. Let's see if I can get that screen up.
There it is.
Yeah, this is before Sari and I met, but, you know, I was showing him how he could use AI to grade he's a 12th grade English teacher, how he could use AI to grade his IB English students. And so we just, you know, we're having some fun and uploaded a rubric, you know, kind of created, and this is stuff that we'll start walking you through over the course of these series, uploaded one of his papers, and then the output from ChatGPT came within 1 point of what he originally had graded the student. In fact, it graded the student lower than he graded the student. So actually, no, I'm sorry, it was opposite. ChatGPT gave 1 point higher than what my husband did. So he reached out to the student. It was a former student, because he was just trying to see, you know, what the potential was. And the student was, I want that point back. I mean, now the student's in college, but anyway. So here we are, we're at this bar, right? Listening to live music, and we're not even listening to the music. We're both just talking about AI and the power of AI. And I'm like, gosh, I really want a thought partner, because there's so much potential, so much going on. And a lot of people are talking about AI in this more abstract way, and not really showing, like, here are some real practical tools that you can use. And so we're, you know, getting excited that all of a sudden we're like, we should do a series together, and let's call it the AI Educator Brain.
Yeah, and we just screamed it really louder than the music. Let's just say it was louder than the music. And
and to the point where these conference attendees from South by Southwest, they're teachers from Wyoming, like, came over to us because we were so loud, and they're like,
"What are y'all talking
what are
about?
you guys doing?" And then they, they're from Wyoming, Montana, I can't remember, but they're giving
That's
our
so
New York
funny.
City friend a
Those are
hard
my
time
boots.
about the boot that she's wearing, because apparently that would not cut it. And
You can't wear those on the road, on the ranch, they said. And I was like, I live in New York City, so like that wasn't a concern of mine, but they were just teasing me. But it was funny. They actually did take that picture to send back home. Like, look at this silly city girl with her white cowboy boots. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So the next night, Sari, Beth, and I get together, and that's where you see this, photo of us. We get together and we start brainstorming, the series. And I'm going to show a quick little video, really, of our thought process as we are live, kind of actually creating a lesson plan from a restaurant from my hotel within Austin when we were there. And so just to get a sense of what it is, and this little guy right here, his name is EdBrAIn. We're going to introduce you to our EdBrAIn shortly. So let's take a look.
Cute? He's so cute.
He's so cute. And he created himself, herself, their self, you name it.
Wow.
Okay, here we go.
We're creating a lesson on ChatGPT
for AI Educator Brain.
We typed that in, what, a minute or two?
Yeah. So love has won, the cult of Mother God.
It's about
I mean, this is a joke. We actually, we're doing a joke one.
Yeah.
But
so I think that's a really good point. I think treating ChatGPT, even though you're going to potentially be using this tool with your students, realizing you're training it like you do with students. And I think the activity reflection is fine. It asks, what is one new insight you gained about cults, and how might this knowledge affect your perception of them in the future? And even have as notes for the teacher. So honestly, this is just us being silly, because I teach American history. I wouldn't be teaching about cults.
Where did this question come from? It just came from a random friend of saying hey, here's a random lesson.
Right. We were like,
we're gonna okay, so we're gonna write this.
Yeah.
Let me share the prompt with you, so just so you have it. Hi, you are an amazing special education teacher. I need you to help me write a lesson plan about a TV show on a cult around they call Mother God.
Yeah, we didn't even have
my typing's bad.
But we gave him the name of the cult.
Yeah, this is the TV show. And then I'm like, we needed a do now activity, a clip from the documentary. We need an activity for students to work on. We need essential questions, and we need an exit ticket.
Really simple ask.
That's all we did.
Yeah, that's all we did. And then
and here's what it came up with.
And this happened in how quickly did you get this? Within seconds.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Sometimes the way I would use this is sometimes when you're sputtering, your brain's sputtering because you want to do a lesson on this, you're not quite sure where to start. At least now you have something built out. And now what I would do as a teacher is say, okay, this works, this doesn't work. Maybe this structure, I would flip this activity is the first one, or the second one, not the first one.
All right, so that was, the brainchild. And so we both get back home. Sari Beth lives in New York. I live in the Washington, D.C. area and work at the AFT. And we just have this ongoing brainstorming session. And it was really there that I have this back and forth with ChatGPT. And we're going to be showing lots of tools. Tonight, we're really focused on ChatGPT. We'll show some other ones as we go through. But, we essentially create our own chatbot for the AI Educator Brain, and our little, AI educator icon here created itself, literally created the image itself. I mean, there was lots of different iterations and images. And at some point, I think our third series, we're going to be talking about, images and taking artwork and, how you can do that. But our little friend right here created itself, and our little friend wants to send wrote a welcome message for you guys earlier today. And Sari hasn't seen this, so let's take a look.
Oh, I haven't seen this. It's a surprise for me too.
Hello, everyone. I'm EdBrAIn, part of the dynamic team here with Kelly Booz and Sari Beth Rosenberg for this evening's Share My Lesson AI Educator series. It's exciting to see so many passionate educators joining us to explore the potential of artificial intelligence in the classroom. Together, we'll navigate the latest AI tools, discuss practical applications, and brainstorm innovative teaching strategies. We're thrilled to share our insights and collaborate with you all to harness the power of AI in education. And just for a bit of fun, remember, I'm the team member who never needs a coffee break, but I'm still trying to learn how to appreciate a good teacher joke.
All right.
It seems so real.
I know. I love our little EdBrAIn, is what we call EdBrAIn. And so, we're gonna be adding more content and resources as we go. And today we're gonna be jumping into today's on lesson planning. So we're gonna get into that in just a second. But I just also want to put this, in perspective. Like, we are not experts within AI. And I think, folks who may say that they're experts in AI, there's probably only, a handful of them, because some people have been working in AI for a long time. But this new ChatGPT, generative AI, it is moving so fast. I mean, we're 15 months since ChatGPT was open and launched to the world.
Wow.
And there are tools that are being launched every single day. And you should see, as I'm at this conference right now, the number of just AI startups. Like I was reflecting as I look and I'm trying to wade through all of these different tools and understand what they mean, especially for our educators, our paraprofessionals, our teachers, what they mean. And it reminds me, Sari, of almost like March of 2020. I mean, I'm sorry, this is like, I should probably do like,
trigger warning.
Trigger warnings.
Yeah, trigger warning.
All of us have like, all of a sudden, we're all virtual and there's like so many tools out there and everybody is trying to be helpful. And like, I feel like we're kind of in that wild, wild west again of tools. And so trying to wade through what that means. Cause look at this by the numbers. 4.5 years for Facebook to reach 100 million users. Twitter was 5 years, Instagram 2 years.
Wow.
2 months.
Whoa. 2 months?
2 months.
Is that
crazy?
I mean, that must be surprising to people in the chat, because it's certainly surprising to me.
Yeah.
That's it. Wow.
Yeah. So I'll throw another poll question up there as we get going, and then I'm going to be sharing my screen soon because we've been going back and forth on this, lesson planning. Have you used ChatGPT before? And then if there's a preferred one that you use, I think I saw some folks saying that they're using Gemini or Microsoft or So we're getting some reactions of people saying, "Whoa, that's crazy! 2 months for 100 million users."
Yeah, I was waiting for that response. I was like, "Where's everyone with that?" Yeah, it's crazy.
And so, feel free to use that, respond to the poll question, and then let us know what other tools you might be using within the chat, and then we'll get going. Sari, how have you been starting to use ChatGPT
So
or these other tools?
And then there's a good question here, but I've been starting to use it. So I've been teaching for 22 years. So I have my lesson plans, right? But I'm always, like most teachers, I'm always refreshing them and changing them and adapting to the students I have each year, as a good teacher does. And I think the last time I used it where I was like blown away was we were doing the classic debate about the US and should we have dropped the 2 atomic bombs. And I already had the readings set up and the videos for the kids to watch. But then I realized that I wanted to have some framing questions it was going to be a Socratic seminar / debate. And normally I would have like been all over the internet. Like I had my own ideas, but there were so many in my head. So I just wrote, hey, I'm doing a debate / discussion tomorrow about the decision to use the atomic bombs. What are some good topics to make sure we cover, and like compelling questions? And it was just there. And the reason, and I think we can talk about this later, but you have to have your own base knowledge, right? You have to say, okay, well, that question doesn't actually make sense in this context, right? So that's why it's not going to replace us, but it's such a good tool when it saves time. I would have come up with those same questions, but it just generated what was kind of already in my brain percolating in a comprehensive way. I put them on some slides. Plus, I wanted to have a rubric for a project kids were doing, set up all the categories, boom, there it was. Of course, I edited it, I adjusted it. I'm not going to just, randomly present something, but it really does save time. and it helps you kind of like collect the thoughts that are already in your brain. And then you can do other stuff like give more student feedback on work, right?
Yeah, no, thank you so much for seeing that. And I see some folks are wondering where the poll questions are. The poll questions should be located directly where you would see the PowerPoint slides. And what I can do, I can set it so it actually just should pop up on your screen. Give me 1 second. I will share that one. And if you miss a poll question, we'll remind me toward the end and we can re-share those poll questions. So that way you can get your professional development credit. And yes, you do need to refresh your screen sometimes if it's not showing. So that's great. Okay, so that poll question should be up. It looks like we've got kind of a mix of people who are using it and not using it. And, earlier we saw, different levels of comfort. I mean, I think one thing when we're doing these series, and you probably all can appreciate this going to professional development, especially when you're talking about ed tech and technology, again, trigger warning, March 2020, like all of us going virtual and stuff like that. There are different levels of comfort when it comes to technology. I mean, I work in this space with Share My Lesson. And so, we're going to have some folks on here that have already been doing a ton of it. So there may be some things that we're showing you that you're like, oh, I already know that. But then there's going to be folks that are here being like, oh, this is brand new information. And so one of the things that we'll be doing each time is really also hearing from you guys in terms of what kind of topics do you want us to cover for future series? And again, like I said, we're not the experts here. And I'm at a conference and I was talking to folks from Google and Microsoft and code.org. I mean, everyone's really trying to figure this out right now as we go. And, even some of the brightest minds are, still trying to figure out some of the stuff of how we go. So it'll be funny, I think, Sari, for us to watch this first session back like a few months from now.
It's almost like
changes. Yeah.
It's almost like when I wrote that series about teaching, like my week, because I was pretty bored. I spent a lot of time reflecting during the early parts of the pandemic. And it's funny to read it now and be like, oh my God, like little did I know. But I think I also commend everyone on here tonight. I see that we have a great number of people. And I was saying to Kelly, like end of the school year, it's not getting to be nice outside. Like it's at least here in New York City. So thank you for joining. I just wanted to say that. And I think I commend all of you for, jumping on here, because I know, especially even if you're a new teacher, or whether you're a new teacher, have been doing it for a little while, have been doing it for a long time, like me, I keep emphasizing that. I commend everyone who, on top of everything else that we find ourselves responsible for, you're excited to learn about something new, because I know it's because you want to, help your students with it and make your lessons even better. So thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. And I know we're doing a little bit more setup on this one. Let's go get into the actual topic. In the future ones, we won't do as much setup, but since this is the first and you're joining us on this AI journey.
Francisco, while you're setting up, Francisco wants to know, is that voice also AI for our little friend, our little robot friend?
Our little friend, EdBrAIn? Yes, it is AI voice. And I can show this to you. Let me start sharing my screen.
Yeah, he wants to know about the AI voice. And then a great question I think we can address later is this whole issue about educators who think AI just encourages plagiarism. So we'll definitely get into that too.
Okay, great. Now, can you guys see my screen?
I can. Can everyone else?
Yeah, and so Sari, I can no longer see any chat, so I'm going to rely on you to share stuff.
The screen is small for me, but
it should be bigger theoretically for everyone else. I think
that's fine.
Because you're on the presenter side, you should be able to kind of drag it.
Yeah.
Yep. So really quickly, Francesca, yes, this was all AI created. I put the script in here and did this, but you know what the crazy thing is? And I can show this in a little bit. I've been training this AI tool to use my voice. And so I did not read this out loud. I can, we're just going on the fly as we're showing you guys stuff as we go. It's generating, this information. So it may take a second to generate with my Kelly voice. And then I'll show that.
Okay, let's see the chat. Are you still there?
Yeah, could you hear it?
No, do it again.
Okay, maybe it may not be sharing for the video, but there is a way to share the voice, and I'm not. Probably not. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not hearing the voice.
Okay, so we'll share in a few. That'll be a future episode. Okay, so let's get into it. So we got our AI Educator Brain. I'm going to say, hey, EdBrAIn. This is our little bot. You have teachers and paraprofessionals joining us live. Say hello.
I'm going to narrate over this, like, not narrate, but I just want to call something out that you taught me on the first day, which is you should be conversational with the chatbot, right? You should, like, when I first started doing it, I'd be like, tell me the answer. I would treat it like Google, but I know this sounds weird, but it's like, you should speak to it like a friend, to build relationship, right? To build kind of a conversation, right? That's kind of what you were telling me, right?
Yeah, and we're gonna talk through that shortly. And I actually have a tool that I'm gonna have you guys start filling out, because one of the things that, when I first got ChatGPT, I was playing with it. I was asking just general questions, and sometimes it would come up with responses. Sometimes it was just like, it felt very like flowery language and stuff that I would never say. And then as I've learned how to kind of do some prompting, I've been actually really able to kind of create my own little, I was at a conference, and I can't claim this, but another person called it like creating my own digital doppelganger. And I've been training various chats on, my writing style and who I am. And, I've set up the AI Educator Brain chat that is focused specifically on, what we want. So look at this. It says, hello to all the amazing teachers and paraprofessionals joining us today. It's fantastic to have you here. Your dedication to education and your students truly inspires, and I'm excited to share some insights and hopefully spark some great discussions. Let's dive into the fascinating world of AI and education together. And then, of course, EdBrAIn gives us a joke. And just to kick off on a lighter note, why did the teacher go to the beach? To test the waters of summer school. Ba-dum-bum.
We like the dad. Well, it's giving dad joke. We like it.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is show you the final product, and then I'm going to show you how to set this up. So I was going back and forth with Sari. Her students are taking their region exams in New York, but the next unit or next class that you're teaching is on the U.S. And the Cold War, right?
Yeah, we're on the Cold War unit right now, 1950s.
Okay, great. So I've set up this chatbot, and then I'm going to show you guys how you can set up your own chatbot. So, Sari Beth is a government teacher. I've set it up based on, some of her needs. And so what I'm going to do is be like, and send a little note of, hey, I would like a lesson plan on the U.S. and the Cold War for my high school government students. Please. All right, so here we go. We're doing this on the fly, and we're doing this live.
Wow. I'm zooming in so I can see.
So it's put in some state standards, but general standards. We're gonna edit this in just a second.
We want to get New York State standards, yeah.
Yep, I'm gonna do that in a second. So we got state standards. It has some lesson goals and objectives, essential questions, think, pair, share, group work activity. And again, I'm going to show you how I got to this point, because if I just started this in just a general chat without kind of building the framework in terms of what I want, I wouldn't get some of these outputs. And another thing that I want to, point that I want to continue to make is that, again, you guys are the educators, you guys are the experts. And there may be, you may look at this and be like, that didn't make sense. That didn't make sense. Or this wasn't that good. So you do always have to use this from a critical lens.
Yeah. Don't just cut and paste it and call it a day, but you know that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at this right now. Resources.
Okay, so let me scroll back up. So we created this lesson plan. It has state standards, but doesn't really list the state standards. It has the goals and objectives. The students will identify the causes and key events of the Cold War. Students will analyze the impact of the Cold War on American and domestic foreign policy. Has essential questions. Can you see this okay?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Can everyone else see it okay? Let me look. I'm going to go back into the chat. Can everyone see it? Where is the information coming from? Okay. Question from Charles is, where is the information coming from?
So this is all generative AI. I have not put anything. The only thing that I have done, I'm going to stop sharing for my screen, is I've given it a prompt. Hold on. Let me not share my screen. Hopefully I can move back to this. Okay. So what I did to set this up, okay, great. We should be back to the PowerPoint slide. I'm going to read this out loud.
We see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So what I did, and Sari mentioned this, is like when you are creating your own kind of chatbot, and you really want to be as specific as possible. And there really is, you know, some kind of formula that you're doing. You want to introduce yourself. Like, you are an expert high school government or social studies teacher, or you are an expert, insert what grade you teach, or insert what grade of students you work with. You need to create lesson plans, and then you're giving it that task on a variety of government and social studies topics. And then each lesson should include state standards, lesson goals, and objectives. And then, so I've put this in there in terms of, you know, what I thought Sari Beth might need. Now, you may have a different structure in New York. So I put it in to say, you know, we want group activities and a check for understanding at the end of the lesson, the goals and objectives, and it should have an exit ticket. You know, there should be, and then what's the tone? Like, what's the format and the tone? The format should be in the bullet points and numbered tasks. It should be a professional with a focus on student engagement.
A couple questions from people.
Yep, go for it.
So Cyndia Nazario wants to know, how do you ensure accuracy? So that's the first question.
Yeah. So, you know, that is where you, that's where you
That's
always
where
you're
the accuracy.
That's the human.
Yeah.
That's the human.
that's why we need humans. And I think that's so important to emphasize. We need human beings doing this. This can't be like, not just human, an expert, right? So AI, this is how I see it. AI is a tool. It's not going to replace us. You can just, every single time I write something in there, I realize it can't replace us, right? So you're the expert. You're the one who's going to say, okay, for example, we were playing around with a lesson the other day, and it was all cool. And then I said, well, for the US history regions, they need to be looking at primary sources. They need to be thinking about compare and contrasting, how reliable is the source. Now, that doesn't have to be in every lesson, but that's where your brain fits. That's where your expertise comes in and says, this is a little too basic of a lesson. And that's when you then interact with the chat bot and say, hey, can you add some primary sources in? Now, what I found, Kelly, and I don't know, maybe you can help me with this, is I've asked it for primary sources, and it doesn't, at least what I was looking for one day, it didn't have specific ones like excerpts yet. But this is, remember, this is a young AI. So one day it might have all those things, right? But what they did for me is they said, hey, check out these two philosophers. So I Googled them and found excerpts from them. So that's something to keep in mind. It's still a work in progress even there, but it cut out a lot of time for me doing that research.
And somebody asked about the standards. So what I just did right now is I said, okay, this is the question I did. I said, this is great. And, you know, again, the conversational tone is important. You don't want to you want to have that back and forth because you are trying to train these models. But I said, this is great, but can you do this lesson this time, but then call out the New York standards? And so look what it has here.
That is.
Standards.
Wow, I did it.
And so I could do that again and say, you know, I don't know. I think there were a lot of folks from different states, but I could do that again to say, actually, I would like the standards for North Carolina, or I live in Virginia, so I'd like the Virginia standards of learning. But Sari, to your question about the, you know, documents. So there's a couple documents here. But if you wanted to train the model, so like here's just kind of my normal chat. Again, I'm going to show you how to build all this. But let's say you said, I really want, so this is how it's configured right now. It's a social studies savvy. It came up with its own image. It actually named itself Sari last night.
It did? Oh my God, let me see. Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
It called itself social studies savvy?
Yeah.
That's cute.
And, I've been training this with the model. So this is actually a little bit more of an updated one than that's in the PowerPoint. Because what I've done is I've gone back and forth with this model and I've updated it. Because when it first started coming in, it would just kind of give, very general, it would say, do this group activity, but it wouldn't have instructions for the students to do their group activity. So I went back and said that. So, if I wanted to say, can we make an adjustment based on what you said about primary sources? Can we make an adjustment and ensure that you include primary sources for each lesson that students, well, what will they do with the lesson for the primary sources?
They'll use as evidence to answer the essential question or the aim for the lesson.
Essential questions or goals and objectives for the lesson. Okay. All right. So now building this, it's updating. It's basically, so consider this is like now we're in the back end of the chat, and it is essentially setting the rules for engagement. It is limiting the rules in terms of what we do for engagement. While we're doing this, I am going to quickly, there should be a link that's going to pop up because I'm going to do this live. I'm going to set this up live with somebody let me push that. There should be a lesson planning prompt. I'm going to put this in the group chat as we're kind of talking through and I'm demoing it. I'm going to use examples that you guys put through because this is going to walk you through how do you set up your prompt, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay.
Oh, I see. That's so cool. Is any questions so far? Is everyone on board here? Understanding? Let me see.
Yeah. Okay, so you should have. This is what you should be seeing right now. So again, that text format in terms of how I set it up. This kind of walks you through the different prompts that you need for creating lesson plans or creating whatever you want to create. Right.
They can't see you, but yeah, that's okay because.
Can you see the screen at least? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. There's a question about rules for citing AI. We can get back to that, right?
Yeah. That will have to be in a future episode.
We'll do that episode. Yeah.
Yeah. So you should all be getting this Google document, if you can start kind of filling it out again. So prompting, what is prompting? It's the practice of giving a prompt or a set of instructions. Essentially, we're setting the rules for how we want our AI to respond back to us. And so, I'm giving you a format and I've set it up so that way, even if you fill this out, it should email you your responses so you can play with this yourself.
Oh, that's cool.
So you've got the role, like you are an expert. These are the examples, like you are the expert high school teacher or whatever grade you are. So you can fill this out as we're going through this. And then I'm going to pull one of the, examples that you guys submit. So let's go back to really quick social studies savvy. So I've updated the model to say, I'd like to have lesson plans and or primary sources. So I'm going to give it one more chance or another go at it.
Yeah. So it's updated behavior. So now that it's updated its behavior, you can try again.
Lesson plan on the U.S. and the Cold War for my 12th grade government students using state standards from, we'll say Virginia this time.
It might make a difference if you say U.S. history teacher, but let's see, because I'm a U.S. history and government teacher, but maybe that's in the weeds because I think it's fine.
Okay, so it's pulling up the Virginia. Our standards are called SOLs. It's a terrible acronym. Standards of Learning.
Oh wow, souls. Got soul.
Yeah.
I don't even know what our abbreviation is. Okay, these are good questions. Any history teachers here tonight? Tell me what you think of the questions. Okay, Truman Doctrine and Marshall Plan. That's absolutely on the exam. Highlights, hotspots. Okay.
So right now we're actually, I haven't saved it. I'm just testing out this model because I've added in that new ask to say, hey, I'd really like to have primary sources. Okay, so now it's listing the Marshall Plan, transcripts with Kennedy's speech for the Cuban Missile Crisis, the Truman Doctrine from 1947. Looks like there's links to some additional resources.
Oh, so they actually give you links to the resources now.
Yeah. So what do you think?
I'd say the lesson is a little, I think it needs to have a little more complexity in terms of like what it's asking them to do. Rigor, right? But it's good. I think with the primary sources, it'll work. I guess the role play activity, I think, needs to be fleshed out a little more, because that kind of feels like, yeah, the role play activity feels like if I was watching someone else's lesson, I'd be like, okay, but what's the purpose of this role play, right? Is it to role play for the sake of role play? But like, what are they trying to get to the heart of? Mm-hmm. I'm being really hard on this AI.
Oh, you should. That's our job. That's your job. Yeah.
I know. I just think that like role play for the sake of role play, we want to know what their goal is. Like, are they, I mean, one question, I sometimes frame it this way and it's kind of complicated to ask, but you know, who's more to blame? Is it the US or the Soviet Union? Are they both to blame for this Cold War starting? I don't know. That's kind of hard. That's definitely more high school level, more AP.
Yeah. So I haven't updated the model yet, but what I've said is, in just listening to you, Sari Beth, is that this is pretty good, but I think you need to add more complexity to the lesson plan, and the role play activity or any student activity should provide instructions for students as well as the objective for each activity.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So let's see.
And any feedback from teachers here as you're watching, feel free to jump in.
And let's see, while we're doing that, okay, it looks like we're starting to get some responses. Fantastic. I'm going to hide your guys' email address. So,
and I'm seeing all your questions, and we're going to try to address some of the general ones tonight, like paying for it. How do you get it? Is it an app? We can address that. We'll bookmark those for the end.
Okay. All right, so Social Studies Savvy has updated. I've made the lesson plan more complex and added specific instructions and objectives for each student activity. Anything else? So let's try this again. I probably should have just copied and pasted this early. You guys are seeing this live as we go. Can you please create a lesson plan using standards from, give me another state this time.
Let's do Texas.
From Texas, covering the U.S. and the Cold War. Not bored.
People are asking like where you got this from. Like how did they get this?
How did they get what?
What you're using to generate all this.
So this is all through ChatGPT, OpenAI.com.
Do you pay for it?
I do pay for it. So it is $20 a month, but I'm going to put another link in. Actually, I'm showing this to you right now. Hugging Chat, there's a way for you to create this free. And I'm learning about a bunch of other tools that use very similar stuff that is also free. You do need to, and again, this will be a future episode, but you have to be careful in terms of what information you feed Chat. Because if you're using the free version, let's say you all of a sudden upload student work that has contact information or anything like that, you are essentially like giving that to the entire, stratosphere. It's not going to be
don't do that. Don't do that.
You want to be careful with that.
Okay. So this is an app that you download on your laptop. Yes.
I'm using it in the browser, but I do have it on my phone.
Yeah, me too. I have it as an app in my phone, and then I use it on my browser.
Yeah. And let me put this Hugging Chat in. And in fact, what we'll do for the next one, I will show you how to do it in Hugging Chat, which is free. Okay. So we have Texas standards that have come up, essential questions. There's a think, pair, share about what do you know, some primary source analysis, check for understanding, came up with some PowerPoint slides. That was actually something that I'd added earlier. So what do you think?
I think it looks much better now. I just lost the screen though. Where are you? I'm like playing around so much I don't know where I am. Oh, here we are. Yeah, I think it looks much more complex. What does everyone else think in the chat? I just lost this. Where am I? Sorry, I lost you. I'm coming back. I have so many things open on my screen that I lost you.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like I'm lost in the sea of tabs. Oh God. Okay, I'm coming back. You're on
okay.
my.
So what I'm gonna do. Let's see here. Hopefully everyone's still seeing. Yep, my screen. Let's Okay, so I love look at all this participation. It's so fantastic. Okay, so let's do. Oh, today is Library Appreciation Week, so I'm going to go with Library Media
cool.
Specialist. So Erica, you are the person that we're going to go. All right, so let's build this together. I will do it two different ways. I'm going to build it in chat, and then I'm going to build it in this hugging face that I just learned about at this conference. Again, we are learning things. I'm learning things daily.
Rebecca agrees that it's more complex too. Good. Okay. I needed a thought partner on that just to double check.
Thank you. Thank you, thought partners. Again, I can't really see the chat, so I need you guys to.
I was like, I had so many tabs open that I was like, I hear Kelly, but I like, that means we're still here. Yeah. I'm sure many teachers can relate to how many tabs we have open on our computers at all times. Let's see what other people are saying. New messages.
Okay, so
it's great. They love it. Great. Yay. Fantastic. We love that.
All right, so for happy Library Appreciation Day, Erica and all of our librarians, I am going to create a chat for you right now using the prompts that you gave us. So what I did is I'm already in ChatGPT, chat.openai.com, and I'm going to essentially go to explore GPTs rather than just starting a question. In fact, you know, we're going to do compare and contrast. Before we build the ChatGPT, Erica, I'm going to take what you had said. I want you to create a lesson plan to introduce 8th graders in Ohio to poetry.
Oh.
Great. Each lesson plan. Okay. So I'm gonna give chat its prompts.
This is so cool.
You are. Oops. Sorry. Which number? Okay. You are a library media. You are an expert. Let's go expert.
Yeah, you're not just a specialist. You're an expert.
Yep. And what are we doing? I want you to create a lesson plan. Again, we're not training the model right now. I'm going to show you how to create a special chat, and we'll compare and contrast which one is better. Our lesson plans are created for me and should be engaging and capture the attention of 8th graders. God bless you for teaching 8th graders.
Yes, God bless.
And then let's see. I'm sorry, I'm going back to too many tabs. Each lesson should include, looks like lots of goals and objectives that need to go into the lesson plan. So I'm literally just copying and pasting what you have here, and it should be professional and focus on student engagement. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy and paste this entire thing so we can look at it in a couple places, and so I don't have to retype it. All right, so let's go. Let's see again what it comes up with, and we'll do this, and then we are going to start training a model to really kind of refine it. Because what I have found when I'm doing this, and I've created a lot of different chats, is that I really need to spend some time going back and forth and saying, okay, I really like this, I don't like this, and like that's a very much an iterative process, and you need to go through it. Don't take the first one. I mean, it's kind of like going to like sales or something like that. Don't take the first offer. Exactly. Go back and forth on it. As we're going through this. And so
when you have time for someone makes a good point in the chat, so at some point we'll go to that. Jackie has some interesting advice about just going about this. So
okay, you want to share as we're
waiting. So Jackie, thanks so much for that. Jackie says it's also important to note that the $20 version and the free version, everything that you're doing is also used to train the AI, so train ChatGPT. If you do the professional version, which is like $60 a month, which is a lot for teachers, then that maintains privacy and nothing you do is used to train the model. That's good to know.
Yeah. And I think what we're going to see this is the wild, wild west. Like it is, again, we're back to that March or April of 2020, where there's all these tools and a lot of organizations made them free for teachers or not free. And so I think we're still in this place of everyone's still trying to figure out what the cost and stuff is going to be.
And someone also shared
the concept of building and these concept of prompts are something that you can use for whatever tool you want to use. So, Microsoft, we're going to be bringing some guests on for future stuff. Like Microsoft wants to join us, Google wants to join us. Microsoft has Copilot, and like their tool is completely free. And so we'll be using Microsoft in the future. And, you know, there's a lot of different opportunities here. I just happen to be more familiar right now with ChatGPT 4, and I'm learning all these other tools as I go along with you.
And if people scroll through the chat, other people are giving advice as other tools that they use. Like one of them, someone called out one that makes rubrics for you. So yeah, I mean, this is a work in progress. We're going to be collecting all of this, and then I'm sure we'll have a great list of the best ones, best practices and everything.
Okay, so Erica, my friend, so this was kind of like the general one, lesson plan. I didn't do much training of this model at all. And so like, I feel like it's okay, but I feel like this is a little empty and doesn't have that much.
Yeah.
So let's go and let's show you how to create this. And I'm going to show you in chat, and then I'll show you in Hugging Face, which is free right now. So I'm going to go, again, I'm on a paid version, but if you go to explore GPTs on the paid version, you go to create. This is where, again, I was showing you, you know, hi, I'm going to create your new chat. Okay, so I'm going to paste what we had already put in there. And you know, all the stuff that we had just done, let's put that there. And it is now starting to create this. Now, I have this for, you know, I'm actually going to start creating one for all of the stuff I need to get done, because right now I'm like, it's overwhelmed. I've got a little bit of ADHD. And so sometimes it's overwhelming with all these things that I have to do. I'm going to create one for myself that is just to help organize like my different tasks in life that I have to do.
I might need to do that too. That's a great idea.
All right.
So what's it saying?
All right. So how about, okay, great choice. Let's start by giving your GPT a name. How about library media specialist? Does that sound good to you?
Or do you have a library media expert?
Ooh, let's make it better. Let's make it, let's ask our chat to create it. Let's make it even more fun.
Make it more creative, more fun and creative.
Poetry lesson planner. Well, nah, because that's getting specific. But I guess, sorry.
No, go back to library.
Yeah. Well, I made a mistake in the sense that I made a mistake that we should have set this up just to specify who this person is before I'm like, create this lesson plan, right? And so I'm going to start all over again. Hold on one second. Let's go to create.
Poetry lesson planner. Imagine if that was just your job, poetry lesson planner. That'd be kind of cool. I guess it's being
a library media specialist from Ohio. I want you to create lesson plans, and I'm going to remove the topic, so that way you are creating something. You can use this for other topics in the future. I want you to create lesson plans. The lessons are great.
Someone was having trouble getting onto the surveys. Let's see if they're the polls. I don't know.
Yeah, I can resend those shortly. Okay, so all the lesson plans have this structure. Finally, it should have an exit ticket. Okay, so I'm updating this one again. All right, so let's start this. What I did, Erica, and for everyone listening, is I removed the actual topic of the lesson plan because, you know, again, the one that I did was Sari Beth. I didn't actually put in the model that, you know, you're creating a lesson plan specifically on U.S. and the Cold War. I put in that she's a government teacher or, you know, U.S. history teacher in that model, so that way we can pull from a variety of topics and then you can use it. Library lesson planner. Okay, let's go with that. Okay, that's fun. I like
that. That's cute. Yeah,
that's fun.
I like, the best thing you've taught me is that you just talk to it like a friend.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, and then here's the fun thing. I'm like, that's fun because I agreed to library lesson planner, and now guess what? It's going to come up with an image.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I'm just going to do a quick time check. I think we said we'd go for an hour. I think we'll probably go a little bit. Yeah, I think we may go a little bit over. So, you know, and here's a cute little image. Now, if you didn't like the image, you could ask for to change it. Like, you know, I would go back and forth. One thing I do find when images are developed, and we've got a session coming up in the third one, is that there's not a lot of diversity. And so you have to be very specific, wanting it to say, like, I want to see, you know, diverse students and diverse educators in the thing. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share it. I'm updating it. I'm creating this new chat. Let's go ahead and view the chat. Okay. And so now I want to say, I want a lesson plan on for 8th graders on a poetry. please create a lesson plan for 8th graders on poetry. All right, so it's already pulling in those Ohio standards because we've trained that model. We're doing the goals and objectives. I can already tell that just even for that little bit of training we did, this is coming out with a little bit more detail.
Yeah.
Than the other one.
Yeah, so the trend I'm seeing is that you really do need to have a back and forth and not give up and like really have a conversation with it to get to a more complex lesson.
Yep. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. I mean, kind of same thing that we were having before where it has, introduction, group work. I mean, yeah. One of the things that I had to train it on the other one was like, okay, if there's group work, write down the instructions for the group work.
Yes.
So what I would do then is say like, okay, this is, pretty good. I'm going to go back and edit this to say, maybe if you'll let me, can you please ensure that all group work has instructions that
and like scaffolded questions, perhaps.
Yes, on a worksheet. Let's say, no, I wanted to create a worksheet.
Yeah. I'm seeing if anyone's writing. Sorry, we're ignoring you. I'm going to go into the chat. I know we're so I'm like, there's so many things open.
Yeah.
It seems
I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. We'll see what comes up in just a second. Let me stop. And I want to put in, I know we are getting a lot of stuff in here. What I'd love, as we're kind of getting toward the end, in the group chat, what are some other topics you want us to cover in the future series? We only have our first 3 that are out. Would love to know kind of other topics because we're going to be building a lot of this out as we go. So, all right, let's go back. So again, this is your prompt in the group chat. What topics are you interested in covering for future EdBrAIn webinars? Now let me go back to sharing my screen. Okay. And so it updated the planner. And let's say, let's give it another test. Let's test out the model to see if it improved. Please create a lesson plan on 8th grade, 8th graders on poetry. All right, so it's, putting all those pieces together again, however you need to structure your lesson plan is kind of what you need to train it to do. So if you, need those standards at the top, which I know most schools do, states do, materials. All right.
Okay,
so
this is looking a little more.
I like that. We got a hook started. Okay, brief audio recording. I like that.
Okay, that's smart. Still I Rise. Ooh, that's a good one.
Okay, and there's instructions for the groups this time, so that's good.
Wow.
Okay.
I love that we're doing this on the fly because
I know, it's so fun.
It actually is quite authentic and shows people like how this works.
Yeah. And so one thing I just want to show too, again, I'm on that paid version. This Hugging Face one, I just got introduced to it. I am I'm not an expert in any of this, but I'm more of an expert on ChatGPT than I am on Hugging Chat. I actually created one I was testing one out for Share My Lesson where, I wanted to see if we could like drive resources for teachers to resources on Share My Lesson. So I'm going to show you this bot and then I can show you how you create just exactly what we did for Erica and the 8th grade poetry.
I'm going to call out some questions and comments. So Christina says, so if you had that lesson plan on poetry and you wanted to do groups or different projects, would you ask that and use one of the tasks?
Yes. Yep, absolutely. So wait, Christina, let me go back to that. Say one more time what she said.
So if you had that lesson plan on poetry and you wanted to do groups or different projects, would you ask that and use one of the tasks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you could do one of two things. Like you can either, give it kind of put some more rules and framework on this, that left side of that screen, in terms of what you want, or you can come back and say, this is now the lesson that's been created, and say, this is great. I would like to see. Can you give me something you want to see? To see.
She wants. I don't know. Christina, are you still there? What do you want to say? Oh, Christina says, finding themed resources or creating text sets. Oh, well, that's like, okay. So, okay. There's so many good questions. I know we're going to run out of time.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go through the other points?
Yeah, go through the other points.
Okay. So, Christopher Dobson says AI and accessibility. Yeah, great. I think we should definitely do
100%.
Future ones, students with disabilities for sure. Translation tools, absolutely. We should definitely do one on that. Creating visuals, we'll be doing that. Creating using images for like yearbooks and other publications. How to use AI to students with disabilities. I think that's a very important one to do. Also, we can get into this at a later date just because of time, but accuracy with Spanish and other languages, let's play around with that for sure. Protocols for professional learning communities, great idea. Okay, so and then another great idea, like life skills and bullying. Oh my God, you all are so amazing.
So awesome.
One of the
things, use your emoticons if you like these ideas. But one of the things that I was thinking about, for my husband, that 12th grade English teacher, and he has got a lot of papers to grade, of like helping him learn how to create a chat that can be shared with the students that have the rubrics, that have kind of his grading skill. So before the final product gets to him, there's a kind of a check-in where the student can get some feedback. And again, it's going to take some time to set that up. So, I can see everybody here at the beach this summer, setting up your little chats for the next school year. Hopefully you're taking a break.
Yeah, people want to talk. We're going to be doing one about grading with AI with rubrics.
Yeah.
Session.
But it was also also taking, I was thinking like, what about creating one with your syllabus or your common questions?
Oh, yeah.
The students can have, when is my assignment due? They could just ask the chat. So they're not coming to you after you've already told them 500 times when it's due.
When's it due? Like when, okay, here's another great one, which I thought was really interesting. Lessons for students under the autism umbrella and cues. Okay. That is such a great idea. And then, potential AI for data analysis and IEP development. Also great. How to use AI to teach art. And then people keep wanting the polls reposted. We'll do that. Social justice questions and restorative justice lesson plans. God, so this can be like a 3-year series now. How students can use AI for reviewing prep for a final. Absolutely. And creating a calendar for due dates on assignments. So smart.
Yeah. So I'm just showing you this, I created this SML bot using Happen Face over the course of this weekend and, pulled it up so that way it, starts pulling in lessons that are already created on Share My Lesson and with links. And then, if there's something that's been done in professional development, it does that. So, but I'm going to go ahead and let's really quickly, I'm going to create a new assistant. I am going to say, what do we call library specialist bot? And let's see here. Let me put the stuff. I want you to create lesson plans for middle schoolers. So I'm going to do the same kind of thing. These lesson plans are created for me. Okay. Creating lesson plans for 8th graders.
Oh, that's interesting how that's set up there.
Yeah, so it's all set up differently, but it's still the same concept, right? Like that we're still doing that training, we're creating this new assistant. If we wanted to create some prompting messages, what lesson do you want today? Or let's say, I want a lesson on poetry, or I want a lesson on media literacy. We'll just kind of keep that. And then you can decide, is it searching anything? So I'm going to go ahead and say Great.
Oh, someone wrote using AI to find plagiarism. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I like this. I think this direction is very important for real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, just people definitely want lesson plans for special ed kids. I agree.
Lesson plan on poetry.
Oh, people want to know when the webinar is going to finish. So people have to run to pick up children. So let's.
I got it. All right. So I'm going to show this last thing. I'm going to come back to the screen and get those poll questions. Thank you guys so much.
We'll wrap up. Yeah, we'll wrap up.
Sorry. We're going to wrap up. And I think we maybe have to switch our future ones for going to like maybe an hour 15.
Yeah. Sorry. And thank you for your time.
Here's an example of like this other one, and I didn't necessarily pull in the Ohio State standards on this one. So again, I'm not going to go through the whole thing of training, but again, you have that ability to do all that stuff. Okay, so let's, any other questions? I'm going to push some poll questions again so you have a chance to respond to those. That should be
thank you again for staying overtime with us. We apologize.
Yeah, I know. I don't like going long. I'm sorry. We're just, you can tell that we're very excited about this.
Yeah, we're really into this. We're quite enthusiastic, but thank you. And thanks for mentioning that. Please make all the links available. Yes.
Yes. And what I'm also going to do is take these lesson plans that were just created, and I'm going to upload them to our new EdBrAIn account on Share My Lesson. And I'm going to make sure that it's very clear that this was created, using AI. So you guys can have a sense of seeing that. And if you didn't do this yet, please join our AI Educator Brain or AI Educator AI and Education community within Share My Lesson, because we're going to be building this out with more content and stuff to share. So I'm putting that, it should be in the resources list. I'll put that in the group chat. Back to
the chat.
Okay. All right. So let's go to another poll question.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you guys so much. This was just a lot of fun. We will be back.
As you can tell, we have a lot of sessions in us. There's a lot to do.
We got more. We got more ideas. I got so many ideas. I'm excited. Join that AI community on Share My Lesson, because we'd love to hear more on the topics that's interesting to you. We plan to bring in some guest speakers as we're going. So yes, this is being recorded. And the next one will be, all of our webinars are recorded. All of them are on demand. And even if you come on demand, you still can get professional development credit, which you should be able to access right now. Let me push that other, I think I got all the poll questions somewhere. Okay. Any other questions? Oh, I see. Sari, anything you're seeing?
Yeah, let me see one more time here. Let's just see. I think they love it. So exciting. I'm excited. I don't know how to finish. I don't know how to finish. What does that mean?
I'm excited. I don't know how to finish.
Will the slides be available to share? Yes.
Yeah. I will upload those. I will upload those to Share My Lesson. So yes, the slides will be.
Someone missed the beginning. Yes, the whole recording will be available. Someone learned so much. I will miss the next webinar. Will it be recorded? Yes. Everyone's saying thank you. We're saying thank you back. Some people have to leave.
Love. Thank you for all the hearts tonight. It makes me feel good.
It feels like we're in the room with you.
I know. It is so exciting to learn. I love that. I feel like this is like my brain is on overdrive on some of these tools
There's so many. I know. Like it's just super exciting, and it's really amazing that so many people
wait until you see this. I now have a digital version of myself that I don't even have to read anything. I can literally just give it a script using my voice, and it creates something. And then I can also have it speak French, and I don't speak French, and I can have it speak German, and I don't speak German. And so like there's just so many things that I'm like, holy crap.
That's so cool.
Or holy crap is what I should say, which is what I said during the eclipse live as I was live streaming the eclipse from Indiana.
I love that. That's basically what I said too, but I wasn't even.
Jason, I don't know about discounts for ChatGPT 4, but what I'm really committed is trying to figure out, what are some, accessible stuff. Again, Share My Lesson, we're all free, so we'll try to find, free the free content and other versions. And, you know, ChatGPT does have the free version. Again, you do need to be careful about what kind of material you put in there.
Yeah, when you feed it. Someone likes the real-time look. Yeah, we felt like it had to be authentic. It would be weird if we just like put slides up. Any teacher discounts, I guess we're going to look into that.
Yep. Rachel, there's a bunch that does different languages, but I have been playing with this 11 Labs version. I'll put the link into that. And so, you know, that doesn't necessarily do the video, but it does do audio. And so I've trained it on my voice. It's a little creepy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much, everyone. This was
I also put that link in. Sorry, I put that link into Teach AI. This is a consortium AFT is part of, NEA is part of, like the 90 different organizations, and they are really working together to come and talk about the ethics and the policy and the guidance, which is a topic we will absolutely be tackling. But we wanted to actually get you into the like see what this looks like and how it works first, because then all of a sudden in my mind, and you can share this, it feels a lot more real.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for everyone for joining and matching our enthusiasm. And when's our next session, Kelly?
Our next session is in
May something.
Yeah. Their next session is in, I think, 3 weeks. Let me double check.
It's on May 7th.
May 7th. Okay. Yep. So yep, next session's in May 7th.
See y'all on May 7th if you can make it. If not, we will record it.
Yep. And again, if there's more questions that you're having, join that AI Educator community brain and put the questions directly in there so that way we can respond. I'm paying close attention to what folks are putting in there.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.